Commander Alex Carter floated in the observation deck of the Federation starship Meridian and stared at something that should not exist. The massive ship hung motionless in the asteroid field like a sleeping giant made of metal and scars. Its hull showed damage from weapons fire, cosmic radiation, and impacts that would have destroyed any normal vessel. But this ship was still intact and still functional according to their scans. Lieutenant Maya Rodriguez checked her instruments again and shook her head. The readings made no sense. This vessel had traveled through space that killed everything else that tried to cross it. The computer showed 17 different star systems in its flight path, including 3 Class 12 hazard zones and 1 Class 15 Deathworld. No known species could survive such a journey. Maya turned to face her commander. The young officer had served on exploration missions for 6 years, but had never seen anything like this. Her voice carried confusion and worry as she spoke. The ship before them defied every rule of physics and biology that the Federation understood. The Federation had spent 300 years mapping the galaxy and classifying worlds by their danger levels. Class 1 worlds were paradise planets where any species could live comfortably. Class 5 worlds required environmental suits for most species. Class 10 worlds were considered uninhabitable death traps where even their best technology could only sustain life for days. Class 15 worlds were beyond comprehension. These planets killed everything that touched them. The radiation levels alone would cook most life forms in minutes. The gravity would crush bones. The atmosphere would dissolve lung tissue. The temperature swings would freeze and burn simultaneously. No intelligent life had ever been found on such worlds because intelligence required time to develop, and Class 15 worlds gave no time for anything except dying. Yet, here was a ship that originated from such a world. The metal alloys in its hull contained elements that only formed under the extreme conditions found on Class 15 planets. The design showed adaptations for environments that would destroy Federation vessels instantly. Everything about this ship screamed impossibility. Captain Elena Brooks contacted the Discovery team from the bridge of the Meridian. Her voice carried the authority of someone who had commanded starships for 20 years, and the caution of someone who had survived that long by being careful. She gave permission for the boarding mission but warned them to expect anything. The Federation had protocols for first contact with new species. Those protocols assumed the new species would be roughly similar to known life forms. They assumed shared concepts like survival instincts and basic physics. They did not account for species that might have evolved beyond normal limitations. Chief Engineer Jake Morrison ran deep scans on the unknown vessel and reported power signatures that defied explanation. The ship was not just functional but actively occupied. Life signs showed multiple contacts moving through the corridors. Whoever built this ship was still alive inside it and apparently unaffected by the damage that would have killed any Federation crew. Dr. Lisa Chang monitored her xenobiology equipment with growing excitement and fear. As the Federation's leading expert on alien life forms, she had studied thousands of species across hundreds of worlds. She had seen creatures that could survive in vacuum and beings that ate radiation for energy, but she had never encountered anything that could originate from a Class 15 Deathworld. The implications were staggering. If a species could evolve and develop technology on a Class 15 world, then they possessed capabilities beyond Federation understanding. Their biology would be adapted for conditions that the Federation used as weapons. Their technology would be designed to function in environments that destroyed normal equipment. Their psychology would be shaped by constant exposure to threats that would drive most species insane. Alex Carter made the decision to proceed with boarding. As an exploration commander, he had encountered strange phenomena before, but nothing approached the magnitude of this discovery. The Federation needed to know what they were dealing with. If this species was hostile, they represented a threat unlike anything in galactic history. If they were peaceful, they could revolutionize everything the Federation knew about life and survival. The boarding party prepared their equipment with extra care. Standard environmental suits were upgraded with additional radiation shielding and emergency medical supplies. Weapons were set to low power settings to avoid accidentally triggering a hostile response. Communication equipment was calibrated for unknown language patterns and biological variations. Maya Rodriguez checked the tactical sensors one more time before they departed. The alien ship showed no aggressive postures, but its weapon systems were clearly advanced beyond Federation standards. Energy readings suggested defensive capabilities that could probably destroy the Meridian without significant effort. Whatever species built this vessel did not believe in building anything that could not defend itself. Jake Morrison noted the heavy construction of the alien ship with professional admiration. Every surface showed reinforcement that went far beyond normal safety margins. Backup systems had backup systems. Redundant components were built into systems that most species considered foolproof. This was engineering by a species that expected everything to break and planned accordingly. The shuttle bay of the alien vessel opened to receive their boarding craft without any communication from its crew. The bay itself was built like a fortress with armor plating and defensive positions that suggested the builders expected to fight battles inside their own ships. Emergency medical stations were positioned every few meters as if casualties were a routine expectation. As the Federation team prepared to leave their shuttle and enter the alien vessel, Alex Carter wondered what they would find. The galaxy was vast and full of surprises, but this discovery challenged fundamental assumptions about what was possible. A species from a Class-15 Deathworld should not exist. If they did exist, they should not be capable of space travel. If they were capable of space travel, they should not be able to survive encounters with the dangers of interstellar space. Yet here was proof that all of those assumptions were wrong. Somewhere in the galaxy was a world so deadly that the Federation classified it as uninhabitable. On that world, a species had not just survived, but thrived enough to build starships and travel across the cosmos. They had encountered hostile forces and survived battles that would have destroyed Federation fleets. The airlock sealed behind them, with a sound like thunder echoing through corridors built for war. Whatever they found on the other side would change everything the Federation thought they knew about life, survival, and the possibilities hidden in the vast darkness between the stars. The interior of the alien ship felt wrong in ways that made the Federation team uncomfortable. The corridors were too wide and built with too much armor. The ceiling was higher than necessary and reinforced with metal beams that could probably stop starship weapons. Every surface showed scars from impacts and repairs that spoke of constant battle. Commander Alex Carter led his team through passages that defied normal ship design. Where Federation vessels prioritized efficiency and comfort, this ship prioritized survival above all else. Medical stations appeared every 50 meters equipped with trauma supplies that suggested the crew expected severe injuries as a routine matter. Emergency bulkheads could seal off sections instantly if the ship was breached. The gravity was wrong, too. Set to 1.2 standard, it was uncomfortably heavy for most Federation species. Walking required extra effort, and the team found themselves breathing harder than usual. Whoever built this ship was adapted to conditions that would exhaust normal beings within hours. Lieutenant Maya Rodriguez studied the wall markings as they moved deeper into the vessel. The symbols were carved rather than painted or projected, suggesting a species that expected their displays to survive damage that would destroy electronic systems. Everything was built to last through destruction and keep functioning when normal technology failed. Chief Engineer Jake Morrison noted the power distribution systems with growing amazement. Instead of centralized power generation, the ship used dozens of smaller systems spread throughout the hull. If half the ship was destroyed, the other half would continue operating at full capacity. The redundancy was beyond anything in Federation design principles. Dr. Lisa Chang monitored her biological scanners and detected life signs that challenged her understanding of anatomy. The beings aboard this ship showed heart rates and respiratory patterns that suggested either extreme stress or adaptation to high-performance demands. Their bone density readings were off the charts, and their muscle mass indicators suggested physical capabilities beyond known limits. When they reached the bridge, the Federation team stopped in shock. 5 bipedal beings stood waiting for them with calm expressions that showed no fear or surprise. They were roughly humanoid in shape but built like warriors bred for combat. Their posture suggested confidence born from surviving threats that would destroy weaker species. The apparent leader stepped forward and spoke in a language that sounded harsh but structured. The universal translator processed the words with unusual speed, suggesting linguistic patterns that followed logical rules despite their alien origin. When translation came through, the voice carried authority mixed with wariness. The being identified himself as Captain Danny Foster of the Earth vessel Defiance. The name meant nothing to Federation databases, but the way he spoke suggested leadership earned through hard experience rather than political appointment. His eyes showed intelligence and caution as he evaluated the Federation team. Maya Rodriguez accessed the Federation database through her mobile unit and found the entry for Earth. The planet was classified as Terra 3 with a Class-15 Deathworld designation. According to official records, it was completely uninhabitable, with radiation levels that would kill most species in minutes and atmospheric conditions that would dissolve standard environmental suits. When Maya mentioned this classification, the aliens exchanged looks that might have been amusement. Captain Foster replied that they called that world home with a tone that suggested pride rather than complaint. The other crew members showed similar reactions, as if the Federation's assessment of their world was somehow entertaining. Dr. Chang studied her readings with growing disbelief. These beings showed biological adaptations that should not exist, redundant organ systems that could function even after severe damage, reinforced skeletal structure that could withstand impacts that would shatter normal bones, healing factors that suggested recovery from injuries that would be fatal to any known species. The alien crew consisted of 5 individuals who moved with coordination that suggested long experience working together under dangerous conditions. Besides Captain Foster, there was a pilot named Kelly Morgan, whose reflexes seemed unnaturally fast. An engineer called Ryan Bell, who understood their impossible technology. A medic named Sophie Wright, who carried medical supplies for trauma that would kill most beings. A communications officer called Tony Davis, who monitored threats from multiple hostile species. Jake Morrison examined the bridge systems and found technology that violated several fundamental principles of safe engineering. The computers were hardened against electromagnetic pulses that would destroy Federation electronics. The displays could function after taking damage that would cripple normal systems. Every component was built to keep working under conditions that would disable conventional equipment. Captain Foster explained that they had been traveling for 8 months while being hunted by multiple hostile species. Every civilization they encountered had either tried to capture them for study or destroy them as an abomination. The Federation was the first group that had approached without immediately opening fire. Kelly Morgan showed them star charts marked with battle sites and escape routes. The scope of their journey was staggering. They had fought running battles across 17 star systems while being pursued by forces that outgunned them significantly. Yet they had survived every encounter and remained operational, despite taking damage that would have destroyed Federation vessels. Ryan Bell gestured toward the engineering section and explained that their technology was designed by beings who expected everything to break. When you grew up in an environment that tried to kill you constantly, you learned to build things that kept working even when they were damaged. Backup systems had backup systems, and critical components were designed with redundancy that seemed excessive until you needed it. Sophie Wright shared medical data that showed the crew's remarkable resilience. They had survived injuries that would require extensive medical treatment for Federation personnel while continuing to function at full capacity. Their healing rates were accelerated, and their pain tolerance was beyond normal limits. Tony Davis activated communication logs that showed messages from various alien empires. 3 different civilizations wanted to capture them for research purposes. 2 others considered them a threat that needed elimination. Several smaller groups believed they were either demons or gods based on their survival capabilities. Dr. Chang realized the implications of what they were seeing. This species had evolved under pressure that would destroy most life forms. They were not just survivors, but weapons created by evolution to thrive in conditions that others could not even imagine surviving. Every aspect of their biology and technology reflected adaptation to threats that the Federation considered impossible to overcome. Commander Carter understood that they were witnessing something unprecedented in galactic history, a species that treated Class-15 Deathworld conditions as normal. Beings who had developed space travel while facing environmental threats that would prevent most civilizations from advancing beyond primitive tool use. Technology designed to function in conditions that Federation science used as weapons. The aliens waited patiently while the Federation team processed the magnitude of this discovery. They showed no hostility but also no weakness. These were beings who had survived by being stronger, faster, and more resilient than everything that tried to kill them. They had earned their place in the galaxy through trial by fire, that would have exterminated weaker species. Captain Danny Foster led the Federation team to what the humans called the Situation Room. The space was filled with holographic displays showing star charts marked with battle sites, escape routes, and hunting patterns from species that wanted them dead. The scope of human space travel stunned the Federation visitors, who realized these beings had crossed more hostile territory in 8 months than most species encountered in decades. Chief Engineer Jake Morrison studied the technical specifications displayed on the screens and felt his understanding of physics challenged. The human vessel showed evidence of engaging in combat with ships from at least 6 different hostile species. The armor plating had absorbed energy weapons fire that should have vaporized the entire ship, yet the humans continued fighting. Kelly Morgan worked at the pilot station with movements that seemed too fast for normal reflexes. Her hands moved across controls with precision that suggested neural interfaces or enhanced reaction times. When asked about their survival techniques, she explained that they learned early that the galaxy was not particularly welcoming to their kind. Every species the humans encountered had responded with either capture attempts or immediate destruction efforts. They had been running and fighting for 8 months while being hunted by forces that viewed them as either valuable specimens or dangerous abominations. The Federation was the first civilization that had approached them with scientific curiosity rather than weapons fire. Dr. Lisa Chang reviewed her biological scans with growing amazement at readings that defied medical knowledge. The human species showed adaptations that suggested evolution under constant threat. Their reaction times were beyond normal limits. Their bone density was reinforced to withstand impacts that would shatter normal skeletons. Their healing factors could repair damage that would be fatal to any known species. Ryan Bell gestured toward the engine room through the view screen and explained human engineering philosophy. When every day might be your last, you learned to build things that lasted. Their ships were designed to keep running, even after taking damage that would disable most vessels. Every system had backups, and every backup had alternatives. Lieutenant Maya Rodriguez accessed the Federation database through her mobile unit and found information that contradicted everything they were seeing. According to official records, Earth had undergone mass extinction events that should have prevented intelligent life from developing. The radiation levels alone should have sterilized the planet multiple times. Sophie Wright shared readings from her medical scanner and explained what the Federation called extinction events with casual dismissal. Humans called ice ages, asteroid impacts, supervolcanic eruptions, and radiation spikes Tuesday. Their species had survived planetary disasters that reset technological development multiple times, but they kept getting back up and rebuilding. The gravitational stress from their homeworld had forced adaptations that made humans incredibly resilient. The atmospheric toxins had created immune systems that could process chemicals that would poison other species. The constant environmental threats had bred reflexes and healing capabilities that bordered on supernatural by Federation standards. Tony Davis activated the communications array and showed recorded messages from various alien empires that had encountered humans during their journey. The messages revealed a pattern of fear, fascination, and hostility that explained why the humans had been running across the galaxy. Most species reacted to human capabilities with either desire to study them or determination to destroy them. Commander Alex Carter realized the implications of what they were learning. Human civilization had developed under pressure that would destroy most species before they reached the Stone Age. They were not just survivors, but weapons that evolution had created to thrive in conditions that others could not even imagine enduring. Their entire culture was built around expecting the worst and being ready for it. Jake Morrison examined structural damage on the human ship and found repairs that violated safety protocols but worked better than regulation methods. The humans had learned to fix things with whatever materials were available and make those repairs last under combat conditions. Their engineering was practical rather than elegant, but it functioned when proper methods would fail. Dr. Chang studied the human crew's behavior patterns and noted stress responses that were completely inverted from normal psychology. Where most species showed fear when facing danger, the humans showed increased focus and coordination. They performed better under pressure because their evolution had selected for beings who thrived when threatened. Kelly Morgan demonstrated human piloting techniques using simulations that made the Federation team uncomfortable to watch. The maneuvers violated basic safety principles but achieved results that conventional tactics could not match. Human pilots could survive acceleration, forces that would kill other species and make decisions faster than most computers. Ryan Bell showed them human medical technology that was designed for treating trauma that would be immediately fatal to most beings. Their medical supplies could stabilize injuries that Federation doctors would consider hopeless. Human medics were trained to perform surgery under combat conditions while being shot at. Sophie Wright explained human pain tolerance by showing medical records from their journey. The crew had continued fighting while suffering injuries that would incapacitate Federation personnel for weeks. They considered broken bones and severe lacerations minor inconveniences that could be treated with basic first aid. Tony Davis played communication intercepts from the species, hunting them, and translated the content for the Federation team. The hunters discussed humans in terms usually reserved for natural disasters or weapons of mass destruction. They feared human unpredictability and resilience, while desiring their technology and biological advantages. Captain Foster explained that human technology was built around the assumption that everything would break eventually. Their ships carried spare parts for spare parts and tools to manufacture replacements from raw materials. They could repair battle damage using resources that other species would consider useless debris. Maya Rodriguez compared human survival capabilities to Federation records and found no parallels. In known galactic history, most species developed intelligence by avoiding threats and creating safe environments. Humans had developed intelligence while being constantly threatened and had learned to turn hostile environments into advantages. The Federation team began to understand why humans had been hunted across the galaxy. Their capabilities challenged fundamental assumptions about what was possible. Species that had dominated their local regions for millennia suddenly faced beings who could outfight, outthink, and outlast them while using inferior numbers and equipment. Dr. Chang realized that humans represented something unique in galactic evolution. They had evolved beyond normal biological limits not through genetic engineering or technological enhancement, but through environmental pressure that would have driven most species extinct. They were natural weapons created by a world that tried to kill everything on it. Commander Carter understood that the Federation was facing a decision that would reshape galactic politics. Humans possessed capabilities that could revolutionize military thinking, medical science, and engineering principles. But they also represented a potential threat to species that had never faced beings who considered impossible odds a normal. Tuesday, the humans waited patiently while the Federation team processed the magnitude of this discovery. They showed no aggression but also no submission. These were beings who had earned their place in the galaxy through surviving everything that tried to kill them, and they would continue surviving regardless of what others thought about their right to exist. The situation changed dramatically when proximity alarms began sounding throughout both ships with urgent intensity that made everyone freeze. Captain Elena Brooks contacted Commander Alex Carter from the bridge of the Meridian, with tension in her voice that spoke of immediate danger. Multiple contacts were approaching fast, and their configuration matched Zephyrian hunter-killer squadrons. Captain Danny Foster reacted instantly to the threat with movements that showed this was routine rather than emergency. His crew moved to battle stations with practiced efficiency that spoke of months fighting for their lives. Kelly Morgan activated engine systems while Ryan Bell diverted maximum power to weapons and defensive systems. The Federation team watched in fascination as the humans transformed from diplomatic hosts to combat veterans in seconds. Every movement was precise and purposeful without wasted motion or hesitation. These beings had been hunted across the galaxy and had learned to fight with coordination that came from shared survival. Dr. Lisa Chang observed the human crew's physiological responses to combat stress and noted reactions that defied normal biology. Instead of fear responses that would impair performance, the humans showed increased focus and enhanced reflexes. Their stress hormones improved rather than hindered their capabilities. Captain Foster refused Federation assistance with firm politeness that carried undertones of protective concern. The Zephyrians had been hunting humans for 6 weeks and had learned their tactics, studied their weapons, and adapted their strategies. If the Federation engaged alongside humans, they would be marked as accomplices and become targets themselves. Commander Carter opened communication channels to Captain Brooks and recommended defensive positioning to observe the battle. This engagement could provide valuable intelligence on both human capabilities and Zephyrian tactics. The Federation had never seen either species in combat, and the data would be crucial for future encounters. The first wave of Zephyrian ships emerged from faster-than-light travel, with immediate weapons fire that lit up space around the human vessel. The aliens had obviously expected to catch their prey unaware, but the humans responded with maneuvers that violated fundamental principles of safe space combat. Kelly Morgan threw the Defiance through attack patterns that should have liquefied the crew from acceleration forces. The ship spun through 7 gravity turns without inertial dampeners while returning fire, with weapons that hit far harder than their energy signatures suggested. The human pilot was pulling maneuvers that would kill Federation crews instantly. Lieutenant Maya Rodriguez monitored the battle, with growing amazement at readings that challenged her understanding of physics and biology. The human crew was functioning at full capacity while enduring forces that should have rendered them unconscious. Their ship was performing maneuvers that should have torn it apart from structural stress. Ryan Bell coordinated defensive systems while managing power distribution that kept all weapons online, despite damage that would have disabled Federation vessels. His engineering expertise allowed the ship to maintain combat effectiveness while absorbing impacts that should have crippled critical systems. The humans demonstrated why hostile species called them weapons rather than just another civilization. Instead of merely defending against superior numbers, they went on the offensive with tactics that turned their single ship into a guided missile. The Defiance charged through Zephyrian formations while its armor absorbed punishment that defied comprehension. Jake Morrison watched his instruments in shock as human hull integrity held at 89% after direct collision with a Zephyrian destroyer. The physics did not add up according to Federation science, but the readings were clear. Human engineering principles created vessels that could ram enemy ships and continue fighting. Sophie Wright reported casualty status over communication links with calm professionalism that treated combat injuries as routine medical issues. 2 crew members had minor lacerations from equipment impacts. One suffered a dislocated shoulder from collision forces. All personnel remained combat effective and at their stations. The Zephyrians had obviously studied human tactics from previous encounters and adapted their strategies to counter known human advantages. They used coordinated attacks designed to overwhelm human reflexes and firepower. But humans had also learned from those encounters and developed new methods that turned Zephyrian adaptations into weaknesses. Tony Davis coordinated communications while jamming Zephyrian command frequencies and spreading false information through their tactical networks. Human information warfare was as advanced as their physical combat capabilities, and they used confusion as effectively as weapons fire. Captain Foster commanded the battle with decisions that came faster than Federation computers could process tactical situations. His strategic thinking operated at speeds that suggested either enhanced neural processing or experience that had compressed months of learning into instinctive responses. The Defiance used kinetic weapons that turned space debris into projectiles traveling at significant fractions of light speed. Federation vessels avoided such tactics because the collateral damage was unpredictable, but humans embraced the chaos and used it as another weapon against their enemies. Dr. Chang monitored human biological responses throughout the battle and recorded data that would revolutionize Federation understanding of combat psychology. The humans performed better under extreme stress rather than worse. Their reaction times improved when threatened, and their coordination increased under pressure. Maya Rodriguez tracked the tactical flow of battle and realized that humans were not just surviving against superior numbers, but actively winning through methods that would be considered reckless by any other species. They treated desperate situations as opportunities to demonstrate capabilities that their enemies did not expect. The Zephyrian formation began falling apart as human tactics proved more effective than their countermeasures. Ships that had hunted humans successfully in previous encounters found themselves outmaneuvered by beings who learned faster than their enemies could adapt. Jake Morrison recorded structural stress data from the human vessel and found engineering principles that could revolutionize Federation ship design. The humans had created vessels that got stronger under pressure rather than weaker. Their armor systems actually improved performance when damaged. When the battle ended, 8 Zephyrian ships had been destroyed or disabled while the Defiance showed battle damage, but remained fully operational. The humans had faced overwhelming odds and turned them into a tactical victory through methods that challenged everything the Federation knew about space combat. Sophie Wright conducted post-battle medical evaluations and reported results that seemed impossible by Federation medical standards. The human crew showed stress indicators that suggested they had just completed routine exercises rather than life-or-death combat. Their recovery rates were beyond normal biological limits. The Federation team realized they had witnessed something unprecedented in galactic warfare, a species that treated Class A combat situations as routine operations. Beings who performed better when threatened and used impossible odds as motivation rather than discouragement. Commander Carter understood that human military capabilities represented a paradigm shift in galactic power structures. These beings could fight and win against forces that would destroy any known civilization. They had survived 8 months of constant pursuit by multiple hostile species while growing stronger rather than weaker. Captain Brooks contacted both ships to request detailed tactical analysis of the engagement. The Federation needed to understand what they had witnessed because it challenged fundamental assumptions about warfare, biology, and the possibilities hidden within species that had evolved under ultimate pressure. In the aftermath of the battle, both crews worked together to analyze tactical data that challenged Federation understanding of space combat. Captain Elena Brooks transported personally to the Defiance because she could not believe the combat reports without direct observation. What she found forced her to reconsider everything she thought she knew about warfare and survival. The human crew showed no signs of stress or fatigue despite fighting a battle that should have left them exhausted and traumatized. They moved through post-combat procedures with casual efficiency that treated life or death situations as routine maintenance. Their psychological resilience was beyond anything in Federation medical literature. Captain Danny Foster welcomed Captain Brooks aboard his vessel with courtesy that carried undertones of wariness earned through months of hostile encounters. The humans had learned to be suspicious of other species, but were willing to extend trust to beings who approached them with scientific curiosity rather than weapons. Tony Davis activated communication logs that showed the long journey humans had endured while trying to establish peaceful contact with galactic civilizations. Every species they encountered had responded with either capture attempts designed to study them as specimens or immediate hostility aimed at destroying them as threats. The Federation represented the first civilization that had approached humans with diplomatic intentions rather than aggressive ones. This distinction was not lost on the human crew who understood the rarity of finding allies in a galaxy that seemed determined to hunt them down. Dr. Lisa Chang presented her biological analysis to both crews and explained that humans represented something unique in galactic evolutionary records. They had evolved to thrive in conditions that other species used as weapons of mass destruction. Their homeworld environment would be classified as a weapon by most civilizations. Kelly Morgan responded to this assessment with laughter that the Federation crew was beginning to recognize as distinctly human. She explained that if Federation scientists thought Earth was dangerous, they should visit some of the places humans had been forced to hide during their journey across hostile space. The pilot described spending 3 weeks on a moon in the Proxima system, where the atmosphere consisted of acid rain that would dissolve most environmental suits in minutes. The humans had used that toxic environment to repair their engines while being pursued by species that could not follow them into such deadly conditions. Chief Engineer Jake Morrison examined human technical specifications with growing professional respect. Their engineering principles were revolutionary in their approach to redundancy and survival. They built systems that could lose 60% of their components and remain combat effective. Ryan Bell explained that human engineering was not revolutionary, but practical. When you grew up expecting everything to break, you learned to build things that kept working when they were broken. Survival required technology that functioned under impossible conditions, rather than optimal ones. Commander Alex Carter made a decision that would reshape Federation policy toward new species. He recommended that the Defiance be escorted to Federation space under diplomatic protection. Humans had demonstrated both peaceful intentions and capabilities that could revolutionize understanding. of engineering and combat tactics. Captain Foster consulted with his crew before responding to the Federation offer. They had been betrayed before by species that promised safety while planning capture or destruction. The humans needed guarantees that Federation sanctuary was genuine rather than another trap. Disguised as diplomatic courtesy, the human captain explained that they were willing to take the risk of, trusting the Federation if genuine cultural exchange was possible rather than experimentation. They had been hunted across half the galaxy and needed allies who saw partners rather than specimens when they looked at human capabilities. Sophie Wright added medical perspective to the diplomatic discussions. Human species had extensive experience with hostile environments and emergency medicine that could benefit Federation medical knowledge. Their expertise in trauma treatment and survival techniques could save lives across multiple species. Captain Brooks made the formal offer on behalf of the United Federation of Planets. She extended an invitation for humanity to establish diplomatic relations based on mutual benefit rather than exploitation. Human capabilities and perspectives could benefit all member civilizations through peaceful cooperation. Dr. Chang compiled her final report on human biology and recommended immediate integration into Federation databases as allied species with specialized expertise. These beings did not just adapt to impossible conditions but made impossible conditions possible through methods that challenged scientific understanding. Maya Rodriguez analyzed the tactical data from the battle and realized that human military doctrine could revolutionize Federation defense strategies. Their ability to turn desperate situations into tactical advantages represented thinking that operated beyond conventional limitations. Jake Morrison studied human engineering principles and found applications that could improve Federation technology across multiple fields. Their approach to redundancy and damage tolerance could create vessels that survived encounters that would destroy current designs. Tony Davis shared intelligence gathered during the human journey across hostile space. Their information about various alien species and their territorial boundaries could help the Federation avoid conflicts while identifying potential allies and threats. Captain Foster made his final decision after consulting with his crew about the risks and benefits of trusting the Federation with human lives and technology. They had survived 8 months of constant danger but could not run forever. Eventually, they needed allies who could offer genuine sanctuary. The human captain agreed to Federation escort and diplomatic protection with conditions that reflected hard experience with species that promised friendship while planning betrayal. The humans would share their knowledge and capabilities but retained the right to defend themselves if the Federation proved untrustworthy. Both ships set course for Federation space while humans began sharing technical knowledge that amazed Federation scientists. Their medical techniques could treat injuries that were considered fatal. Their engineering methods could repair damage that would normally require complete replacement. Kelly Morgan worked with Federation pilots to demonstrate maneuvers that expanded the envelope of possible tactics. Her flying techniques could save ships and lives in situations where conventional methods would fail. Human adaptability translated into capabilities that other species could learn and benefit from. Ryan Bell collaborated with Federation engineers on designs that incorporated human redundancy principles into more conventional technology. The resulting hybrid systems offered improved survival characteristics without requiring the extreme measures that humans considered normal. Sophie Wright shared medical protocols with Federation doctors and expanded their understanding of trauma treatment under extreme conditions. Human medicine was designed for situations where normal medical care was impossible, but patients still needed to survive and function. The journey to Federation space became an extended cultural exchange that benefited both civilizations. Humans learned that not all galactic species were hostile, while the Federation discovered that survival could create capabilities beyond their imagination. Captain Brooks recorded her observations about human psychology and noted that these beings did not see themselves as special or superior despite their remarkable abilities. They considered their capabilities normal adaptations to environmental pressures that happened to be more extreme than other species experienced. Dr. Chung completed her analysis of human evolution and concluded that they represented proof that life could adapt to any conditions given sufficient time and pressure. Their homeworld had created beings who could survive anywhere, and that adaptability was their greatest gift to galactic civilization. The story concluded with both human and Federation crews working together as partners, rather than specimens and observers. The galaxy had gained a new species whose definition of impossible was merely Tuesday, and whose friendship was earned through mutual respect rather than conquest or submission.